Hello there, and welcome to Homeschooling Adventures. My name is P. Jerauni, and in today's video we are going to be looking at the topic of dynamics of perfect markets. But this particular video is just going to be looking at dynamics of perfect markets, but in particular reference we are going to be referring to the terminology, and I think the terminology you would now know at this stage that normally it comes in the exam as question 1.3. So we are just going to try and look at some of the terms that learners should know as they prepare for their exams, especially terms that are coming from our perfect markets. Okay, now to get us going, we are just going to be starting by looking at what we mean when we say economic profit. Now, when you say economic profit, learners, you should understand that it is the output at which total revenue is greater than the total cost. In other words, when we have our total revenue being greater than our total cost, then we are saying we are making economic profit. And normally this total cost that we are looking at, we have two categories of the total cost, where we have one component of the total cost, which is what is called implicit cost, and then we have the second one that are called explicit cost. Now, when we talk of the implicit cost, we are saying this refers to the cost of the foregone alternative. In other words, these are costs that are related to the opportunity cost that owners of a business incur as a result of using the factors of production they own, okay, to produce goods and services. In other words, when we talk about implicit cost, we are saying these are costs that result from the owners of production having made a choice to use their factors of production that they own to produce goods and services. Okay, for example, if we have capital, for example, as a factor of production, you and me would now know that capital is owned by the owners of the business, okay, or of the firm. So if they decide to use a capital amount of maybe 100,000, for example, the implicit cost there is the alternative that has been foregone. In other words, if they had decided not to start the business and invest the money on other investment vehicles, there is income that they were going to earn from those vehicles, and that income, it amounts to the opportunity cost, in this case in relation to the capital that was used. So you need to understand that implicit cost are those costs that are incurred by owners of the business as a result of having decided to use the factors of production that they own to produce goods and services in their business. Okay, so that's implicit cost. And then we have the second type of cost that I've looked at, which we said is called the explicit cost. Now, when we talk about the explicit cost, now these are costs or payments that are made for factors of production that are not owned by the owners of the business. In other words, if the owners of the business pay, okay, for certain factors of production that they do not own themselves as owners of the business, then you are saying that payment that is made, it forms the group of explicit cost. An example of such cost is maybe wages and salaries that is paid to employees. You would agree with me that employees are not the owners of the business, but these are workers that are giving their service in exchange for a salary or a wage. Are we together there? So in this case now, we are saying the money that is paid when owners of the business pay salaries and wages, or when owners of business buy natural resources from people who are not the owners of the business, then we are saying these are explicit costs. Now, what is the difference between the explicit cost and the implicit cost? You need to understand that explicit cost is the cost that is incurred by the owners of the business when they buy factors of production from people that are not owners of the business, when they buy factors of production from households who are not part of the owners of the business. So it means those are explicit costs. And then implicit costs are those costs that are incurred by owners of the business when they use their own factors of production or factors of production that they own to produce goods and services. So this implicit cost results from the opportunity cost of the foregone alternative. I think it becomes very clear there. And then, so now when we talk about economic profits, learners, what we are saying is economic profits is the excess of total revenue over the total cost. And our total cost in economics is going to be made up of both implicit cost and explicit cost. Okay. Right, and then we also have the other term that we need to define here, which is called economic losses. Now, when you talk about economic losses, dear learners, it's the output at which total revenue is less than total cost. In other words, a situation where we have our total revenue being less than our total cost, we say that one is our economic loss. And you would now understand that our total cost here that we are talking about the sum of implicit cost plus explicit cost. That's what gives us our economic loss. Okay, so our economic profit is as a result of total revenue being greater than total cost, and the total cost is implicit and explicit. Economic loss is as a result of total revenue being greater than the total cost, and our total cost is implicit, explicit. Okay, right. And then we also have the other one, which is normal profits. Now, when we talk about normal profits, learners, we are saying this is when the business has its total cost, which is both the implicit and explicit, being equal to the total revenue, okay, from the sale of outputs, okay. And normally this one is sometimes referred to as the break-even output, okay. So you would now agree with me that our normal profit is as a result of our total cost being equal to our total revenue from the sale of output, okay, and that break-even output. Okay, so these are the terms, but then, okay, then we have the next set of costs that we have, that is called the sunk cost. Now, when we talk about sunk cost, we are saying these are the costs that a business will not be able to recover should they decide to leave the industry. In other words, these costs generally they take the form of cost of advertising as well as the cost of research and development. In other words, we are saying if a business starts and then they spend a lot of money, maybe millions of rands on advertising campaigns, and then that advertising campaign is not successful, then the business has got to close. Now, when the business closes, if the business decide to close, they are not going to be able to recover those bills that they've paid, or the amounts of monies that they've paid for newspaper advertisements, for posters, for billboards, for television advertisements, and all sorts of advertising medias that they were using. They will not be able to recover those costs. They cannot go to the companies and say, give us back our money. So once those costs have been incurred, they are not going to be recovered, and such costs, they are called sunk cost. Okay, then we also have the next term that we need to define, which is called the market equilibrium. And I think at this point we now know that market equilibrium is the point at which the quantity of goods that are demanded is equal to the quantity of goods that are being supplied. And then at that point where our demand is going to meet our supply is where we are going to call that one the market equilibrium point. Okay, then we also have what is called profit maximization output. Now, when we talk about profit maximization output, learners, this is the point at which the business, or this is the quantity at which the business is going to maximize on its profits. Are we together there? Now, what it would mean is the quantity of output at which the business is going to realize the highest amount as profits. Okay, and that quantity, that point at which the business is going to realize the highest amount as profits is what is called the profit maximization output. Now, it can briefly be explained using what I'm going to draw here. You would now know that this one is a normal cost total cost and total revenue curve. And on this curve we have this side is the price, okay, and then you would now recall that our cost, probably these are our total cost curve, and then like that, okay, and then this one is my TC. Okay, now this one is my TC, and then we also have this one is our revenue. Okay, this one is our revenue, and then that one perhaps, and then that one perhaps, and this one probably is going to be called our total revenue curve. Okay, now what it would now mean is profit maximization output is the output at which the business is going to realize the maximum profits. Okay, like for example, if we take, probably this one is the highest point, this one is the highest point. So what it would now mean is this output that we have, the quantity that we have this side at this point, probably quantity A, is what represents our profit maximization output, because it's the number of units that the business should sell for them to be able to maximize on profits. And please note that this one is a total revenue. So profit maximization, it would mean the business is going to make the highest profits at which output. So it should now mean that we should be having our total revenue being greater than our total cost. So it's either at this point or at this point. Now, but now you see now at this point, the difference between the cost and revenue is not as big as this difference that we have here. So it means this is the profit maximization output, which we indicated here as A. Okay, all right, thank you. Now then we also need to understand the other type of profits that we have. Remember, we have looked at our economic profits and we said this is when our total revenue is greater than our total cost. And our total cost, it was made up of two things. It was made up of implicit cost, and then it was also made up of explicit cost. And then we explained what implicit costs are and what explicit costs are. Now when we talk about accounting profit, dear learners, it is the amount at which a firm's total revenue is greater than the explicit cost. Now accounting profits, it only looks at explicit cost. It does not look at the implicit cost. And at that point where our total revenue is greater than our explicit cost only, then we say that is accounting profit. Okay, and then we also have the next type of next term that we need to define, which is what is called productive efficiency. Now you need to understand that productive efficiency is achieved when the output of a firm is produced at the lowest average cost. Okay, this is when our P is equal to the minimum of our ATC. In other words, at a point at which our price is equal to the minimum of our average total cost, then we say that is the point of productive efficiency. The point at which price is equal to the minimum of ATC, we are saying that's productive efficiency. So this is very, very important, but we are going to be looking at this again when in the coming videos. But you need to remember that price is equal to the minimum of ATC, then that indicates our productive efficiency. Okay, and then we also have the other one, which is called the allocative efficiency. Now allocative efficiency occurs when our price is equal to the marginal cost. When our price is equal to marginal cost, then we are saying the firm has, or the business has achieved allocative efficiency. So productive efficiency is when price is equal to the minimum of ATC, and then allocative efficiency is achieved when the price is equal to our marginal cost. Okay, and then we also have the next term that we need to explain, which is called the deadweight loss. Now when we talk about the deadweight loss, or before I go to the deadweight loss, let me just explain what is meant by the Pareto efficiency. Now when we talk about Pareto efficiency is achieved when the business is able to achieve both productive and allocative efficiency. Pareto efficiency is achieved when the business achieves both productive and allocative efficiencies. Then we say that business has achieved Pareto efficiency. Now you would now need to understand that from these explanations, businesses that operate in a perfect market, they are able to achieve Pareto efficiency. Why? Because you'd recall that when our MC was crossing the price, we remember we had our demand is equal to MC is equal to MR is equal to AR is equal to price. So it would mean that when our MC was crossing our MR curve and our D, okay, that was the point where price was also. So it would now mean that at that point, at equilibrium point, the perfect market firms were able to achieve both productive efficiency. Why? Because the price was equal to marginal cost, okay, and they were also able to achieve the productive efficiency. Why? Because the price was also equal to the minimum of ATC, but I will illustrate it shortly. And then we also have the other one that is called the deadweight loss. Now when we talk about the deadweight loss, learners, we are saying this occurs when there is a reduction in economic welfare as a result of a reduction in consumer and producer surplus. Okay, now let me just try to explain this using a graph. Okay, so just to try and explain what we are talking about, I'm just going to use a normal perfect market individual firm graph, okay? And then you'd now recall that it looks like this. It looks like this, and then this side, obviously, we have our quantity, okay? And then this side, I'm going to have my price, okay? And then then we have our demand curve, and remember we agreed that the demand curve in a perfect market is horizontal, okay, because it's a perfectly elastic demand curve. And then it would now mean that this one is D is equal to our MR, okay, which is equal to our AR, okay, which is our average revenue, which is equal to our price. Okay, so this is the name of the graph, isn't it? So it's D is equal to MR is equal to AR is equal to price. And then you would now also understand that because we have AR here, so we need to plot the position of our AC. So my AC curve, which is the average total cost curve, is going to be like this, okay, and then I'm just going to call it the average total cost. So this one is my average total cost curve, okay. And then we are going to look at we have done the MR, so it means we need the MC, and then my MC is going to be something like that, okay. And then this one is my MC. Remember, this one is in the long run, so it means the firms in the long run, they are going to make normal profits, as we discussed in the previous videos. Okay, so now let's identify the point. So what we are saying here is we are saying if you look at this point here, we said at that point, that's the point that we are calling our equilibrium point. That's the point we are calling our equilibrium point. Okay, why is it the equilibrium? Because it's when our MC is equal to our MR. Okay, now at that point, so we said productive efficiency is achieved when our P, which is our price here, when our price is equal to the minimum of ATC. So when we have our price being equal to the minimum point of our ATC is this one here. This is the minimum point of our ATC. So where price is equal to the minimum of our average total cost, this one. Okay, that's the point that we are calling is our productive efficiency point. And then we also said allocative efficiency is achieved when our price is equal to our MC. Okay, where our price, which is this horizontal graph, is equal to our MC, this point. So it means now the point is this point again. So at this point we are having both price being equal to the minimum of ATC as well as the price being equal to the to MC. So at that point it means the perfect market firms are able to achieve Pareto efficiency in the long run. So this is what we are talking about. Okay, now that's what we are talking about when we talk about Pareto efficiency. But we also now need to explain what is meant by what I was saying, dead weight loss. Now, when we talk about dead weight loss, dear learners, it is, we said it's the loss in economic welfare that is as a result of firms not being able to losing out on a surplus. Okay, now this is what we are saying here. It would if we are to plot a graph, and I'm just going to use a monopoly to try and explain this. Okay, right, though we are going to go back again to it and we explain it in detail as we move on. Okay, now you would now understand that our demand curve is like that, and this D is going to be equal to our average revenue. Okay, in a monopoly is equal to our average revenue. Okay, and then we also have this one, our MR curve, which we said this one is our MR. Okay, now you now need to understand that when we talk about this our monopoly or our imperfect market, our marginal revenue is not equal to average revenue. It's a less that, or it lies below the average revenue. Okay, but we are going to discuss that in greater detail as we move on. So the next one now is, I now want to plot my MC curve. Okay, my MC. Okay, that's my MC curve. So now we want now to establish where is the equilibrium point. The equilibrium point is where MC is equal to MR. So our equilibrium point is at this point here. Okay, that's our equilibrium point, and this is the point of profit maximization. This is the point where profits are being maximized. Okay, but you would now understand that the society is demanding goods that are higher. The demand is there. Okay, but our firms are maximizing profits at this point here, but the society is demanding these goods. So what it will do now is, we are saying the society is going to lose. If we are going to give maybe prices here, maybe we are saying this one is 10. Okay, and then the society is, its demand for society is there at 15. Okay, now what it would now mean is firms, a monopoly for example, is interested in maximizing profits and nothing else. So what it would mean is they are going to produce a profit maximization output which is at 10. Okay, but the society is demanding what? Is demanding 15, but they are going to produce 10. Now whatever they have produced, they are going to miss out, or there's going to be a loss in supply. Okay, or in the quantity that is being demanded, which I have indicated here with this shaded area. Now this area that we have shaded here, that I have shaded there, it shows, or it illustrates dead weight loss. This shaded area here, it is as a result of the society is demanding at this point here at 15, but the monopoly firm is interested in maximizing profits at E, at equilibrium. That's where profit maximization is. correct? Because we said profits are maximized when MC is equal to MR. So this is where profits are maximized. So they are going to produce at a point of profit maximization, and in the process they are going, this society is going to lose out on surplus. Are we together? On supply, and also the business will also lose. So this is what is called economic is what is called the loss of economic welfare, and in economics we refer to it as our deadweight loss. Okay, so this is all that we had in today's video, and if you like the video, click the like button and remember to subscribe to the channel. All the best in your studies. Good luck.